Hello, friends. It looks like we've gotten going here. Just give it a few seconds to get it up and running. For those of you that are coming on live, this is actually a pre-recorded video. So if there's any difficulty with you putting comments up and I don't respond to them, I'll look into how to do them, absolutely live, because we don't edit them. We just run them straight through. But I've got a limited amount of time and I need to clatter on because we've got quite a few slides to get through. This is our weekly update, and apologies for being late. A couple of things got in the way, including me being rather violently ill yesterday. I think it was food poisoning, my cooking, of course. Anyway, with that, my friends, let's get straight into this. As you can see, the title today is, one second now, next slide, here we go. The title today is Irish Thugs, What's Wrong with This Picture? Let's pull that up for you so you get it. Okay, apologies for the crowded space there. Irish Thugs, What's Wrong with This Picture? Those of you that are following the news will recognize Bambie Thug in the center there. This is Ireland's Eurovision Song Contest nominee. And of course, Garda Síochána, when they entrapped, I think we've been told there were hundreds of Gardaí, and they created a trap and basically pinned in 50 or 60 Irish members of the public who were on their way to supporting a Burkett prison. Those of you that have been around a while will recognize top right, Muscles Mick McGrath from the Bridewell, notorious for putting his hands on people. Now, the two icons at the below, we'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, this Bambie Thug person. Okay, with all of this super sensitivity over, pronouns and binary and non-binary, and you can't call me this and you can't call me the other and all that sort of nonsense, I'm going to try and present this in a rhetorical manner, okay? I'm making two major points here now as we just explore a little bit about this character from County Cork, Macroom, Cork, who's going to apparently represent Ireland. The first is rhetorical question. Is this somebody that you want to be representing your country? Okay. Apparently, and again, there are different versions on the internet, but apparently he, she, it, they goes by the original name of Country Ray Robinson. And no, that is not a misspelling, my friends. You start to get the picture. Okay, and as you can see, the satanic themes there on the Late Late Show, where they were all fawning over. Now, very interestingly, I went online to find out, was this person born a man or a woman? Believe it or not, there's so much control and suppression on the internet now these days, guys. So much control and suppression on the internet that everywhere you go, it refers to they, which is not good English. I'm an editor and a writer. I'm telling you, you don't refer to a singular person as they. I don't care what the so-called authorities tell us and the PC people tell us that we're supposed to do. It's nonsense, They, who's they? Are they talking about her or him or even it, or so on and so forth? Anyway, read it anyway. So, that's my first sort of point that I'm making here is really this the sort of person, all right? So we read here early life, okay, let's pull it up. Born in Macroom, County Cork, to a Swedish father and mother, and has three sisters. Quote, they were also raised in Macroom. Oh, sorry, yeah, they were, so that means his sisters or her sisters, whatever. Initially training to become a ballet performer, now they're not talking about the three sisters, they're now talking about this individual, okay, who were still at somewhat of a loss, but it appears it was born a he. Just do your head in, wouldn't it? So they spent some time in London. You'll see, we're going to go on to that in a few moments. Sorry again for the crowded slides here, guys. Describes itself as queer, which was on the Late Late Show, running around Cork with a big, written all across its back, her back, queer and non-binary, and a witch, no less. Why would that bother us? Let's keep flying through these, guys, because we've got a lot to get through. Again, it says here, these are just shots from the various videos that I'm just going to call it doesn't really matter, does it? Robinson is non-binary. They've stated on numerous occasions their experiences on being a member of the LGBTQ plus community. And in an interview with the Gay Times, she says, I like being part of a cool, queer, rising scene. I also didn't have that growing up, so it's important to have people you can relate to, blah, blah, blah. More freedom to be yourself. More queer voices is what the world effing needs. Charming. Isn't she a charmer? Yeah. I'll integrate between he, she, it, they, whatever. It doesn't matter. All right. I don't care if you take offense, frankly. Robinson practices neo-pagan witchcraft, particularly sigil and manifestation magic. Now, this is quite important, folks. Manifestation magic, which you'll see in a moment, is all about speaking things into being by using what we call in the old days, in the medieval days, curses and chants and, the sort of stuff that witches sort of tended to get up to, She says she's done blood magic during their period. How lovely. Stating that it is an offering of your own blood onto a spout. And it's also really good for your skin. Can you picture this, guys? How is she offering period blood onto a spout? The mind boggles. Witchcraft has a major influence on Robinson's music. Numerous spells and hexes are included in various songs, with Robinson making their own sigil as their own official logo. So a sigil is some sort of witchcraft sign. I think it's the one she has in her head there on her forehead on the top left. Let's keep it going, guys. And again, by all means, freeze this at any point, guys, because I've got quite a few on her, him, it, there, and whatever. This is two more of her videos over there. This was her on the Late Late Show. This was done in an interview in London before she was nominated for the Eurovision over here. Do you ever use this kind of process and spells when creating your music? I have a song called Doomsday. Doomsday Blue, by any chance? That isn't out yet. I spoke tongues under the beat, or we all speak backwards in songs, or just hide spells in songs, using occult language as well. Or even like the necromancy song. If you don't know what necromancy is, guys, please look it up. It's a reverse sexual practice that involves dead bodies, basically. There, I said it. That came from a spell. So she's articulated spells and stuff underneath the lyrics of this song that she's taken to Eurovision on the part of Ireland. The intention was in it. Most of my songs and lyrics all have occult-based lyrics too. It plays a massive part. She wants to do it all. Okay, we'll keep going, guys. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep my eye on the clock here. Black magicians and the manipulation of language. Again, gratitude to the people that take these snapshots off the internet. Read it for yourself, guys. Dark warlocks use the power of words to cast spells of deception to obfuscate the truth. They twist language and render it meaningless. Where does that now ring a bell? Where's this other one? Let's see if I'll pop this up top right now just for a few minutes. Yes, criminality in the Irish courts in the absence of the rule of law. They twist language and render it meaningless. They make truth into lies and lies into truth. They turn meanings and language upside down to disorient and deceive. They use words and language as hypnotic devices to keep the sleepers asleep. They cast curses of hate, anger, and fear. Now, in case you all thought we're just talking about little wizards with pointy hats and everything, the black magicians aren't only in movies and books. They are many of the people in our media and our governments. Mainstream media programming is a mass spell of delusion that confounds and confuses the populace. The point I'm trying to make, guys, is that it sort of doesn't really matter too much if you don't believe in it. The fact is that these people do, and a lot of them, the ones I call the diabolicals, are running the show. So the actual opening, the opening phrase in her song going to the Eurovision is Avada Kedavra, or Kedavra, sorry, Avada Kedavra, that's right. And as you see here, it's very closely related to abracadabra. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here other than tell you the origins of the word are in healing magic way back, centuries ago, all right? But it's the Avada Kedavra has been incorporated into Harry Potter movies, right? And it's let the thing be killed. But it was used to kill diseases in the original sense, okay? But it was used as a spell originally to cure illnesses. It also highly likely that the phrase was the origin of abracadabra, a term used by magicians, right? So she's using these phrases in the song, amongst others. What else do we have to look at here? This is, again, the same interview in London. Are there any other topics you want to explore more in the near future? She talks about spirituality. She wants to question people's sanity or the world we live in. She wants us to question our sanity. And again, rhetorical, guys, I'm just putting it out there. You know, wait till you see a bit more. I want to talk more about the occult and get people more familiar with it and make people stop being so judgy about witchcraft. Oh, spells that kill, hate, deceive, injure. Oh, don't be so judgy about it. How would you describe a modern witch? Anyone can be a witch, because witchcraft is the only religion where there's no rules. Look, there's no such thing as an institution or an organization of any sort that has no rules. It's literally not possible, other than, you know, maybe in an absolutely perfectly functioning family, right? You don't need the rules because there's mutual respect and love all around, or a small community. But any institution, especially a religion, it has to have rules. That's what makes it different to the other religions. She talks about this. She says it's a religion worshipping yourself. All right, where have we been told that that may not be such a good idea? So, again, freeze the slides and take a closer look if you want to take a closer look at it, guys. We get a bad rep because people just don't understand it. Okay, well, let's help people to understand what it is you're involved in. Country Ray Robinson, right? Let's see what's next. Right, so here we go, guys. And remember I said earlier, right? The very first lines in the song are Avada Kedavra, I speak to destroy. Now, on top of the hidden subliminal language and the backward chants and the Satanism infesting everything that this individual is doing, all right? And there's the icons for the spell. You'll remember this from Harry Potter. He waves his wand in a particular way, okay? But just again to hit home the fact of what's going on, right? Now, here was the other thing here. Another line in the song is, I know you're living a lie. And whatever catchy elements the actual so-called song has, right, you need to know that all of this has gone into it. And all of the fools, those so-called judges and the presenter, you know, go, oh, isn't it wonderful, amazing? And what's it all about? Oh, we're just going to shock everyone into giving us the Eurovision. I don't bloody well want it if this is how we're going to get it. Same as, I mean, the same attitude towards Dustin the Turkey. I was glad that he was thrown out and everybody saw that we were being arrogant, unbelievably arrogant, putting a stuffed animal in to compete against all of these professional musicians. It was arrogance, unbelievable arrogance, while we were sailing well on the finances and everything. So here you see top left, RTE silent as X-rated music video of Eurovision's hopeful Bambie Thug emerges on adult websites. Well, why? Now, I'll tell you now, guys, if you're interested, you don't really need to go there because, yeah, maybe for a teenage boy it's titillating or something. But what you have is this character who you still don't really know if it's a boy or a girl, you know, man or a woman, or as it says it is, binary, all right, because it's got perturbances, okay? Let's see, you need to see my face while I'm doing this. It's got the female perturbances, okay? But they're not voluminous, which you'd imagine if somebody was getting surgery to change their sexual identity, you'd think that might. So, excuse me, it's all very, very, and also one of the judges referred to it as she, but then again, Ray is a man's name, you know, oh, who knows, guys. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here, if you don't mind looking at it a bit closer, guys, this is just one of the stills. This is one of the innocent stills from that video. It's called My Birthday. That's, if you just put in Bambie Thug and birthday video, you get taken to a pornographic website, guys, because it can't be shown anywhere else. All right. Again, I'm not encouraging you to go look at it, but if you want to see the tenor of the person, which comes to the second point, the first point was, do all of our mammies, Irish mammies and daddies out there want this person, this individual, right, to be the role model for the youth growing up? Because she says something very interesting, okay? So RTE is silent. They're not taking any action about it. As they do, how does the system work? Goes silent, covers things up, damage control, and just presses ahead regardless of what the people think. So let's come back up here. I'm trying to get a balanced view here. All right. The next slide is, isn't that wonderful? Now I'll pull it up in a second, guys, to show you the full picture on the left. Again, I've picked one of the pictures that is arguably not too offensive. Yes, you can see a person's chest, but it's hard to know if it's male or female. You can see where the hands are. That's a birthday cake, believe it or not, in that region. Otherwise, it is completely naked. There was a phrase repeated all the way through the song, I only take drugs on my birthday, and today is my mother birthday. All right. Now, at the same time, let's bring this up a bit bigger. I want to read what she says. Robinson has stated an emphasis on trying to be good role models with music, stating a belief that many within the industry glamorize drug addiction. They stated in an interview with Gay Times that we need to parade healthy behavior. It's important if we are going to be breaking through so that younger kids and teens listening to our music and looking up to us aren't fed this negative behavior. Guys, the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Now, I'm not saying that as an individual to speak to and to engage with he, she, it, they, whatever it is, could be very charming, agreeable, pleasant. And I certainly wouldn't be pointing out that my perspective that there's something fundamentally wrong with parading this type of thing in front of all of the children and on the Eurovision Song Contest, because it's all linked, yeah? Satanism, black magic, hidden spells and curses, and then, talking about touching herself when she's in bed as well. That's in the song, that's in the Eurovision Song Contest. Listen to the lyrics, guys. Listen to the lyrics, okay? Why is this important? Well, it's important because in the original sphere of things, and it's a symptom of the fact that we've all drifted away from even knowledge of what I call the original principle. And one of the original principles is the concept of pure man and pure woman. Okay. Now, I'm not passing judgment. We know there are lots of hermaphrodites. There's lots of people that call themselves binary or whatever, or non-binary. There's lots of people going through operations for changeover and everything. But that's a symptom of the fact that, as I like to say, we are the byproducts of centuries of poor mating choices. It's another discussion for another day, guys. But if we were choosing partners for the right reasons, in other words, because of their heart and their conscience and their decency and their goodness, as opposed to how excited they made me or their figure or how much money is in the bank account, then humanity might be a completely different species altogether. But anyway, we'll leave that for today. I know we're treading on sensitive ground. So let's see now. So what I want to say to Country Ray Robinson, okay, who now is an international statesperson as well, because they've expressed support for the exclusion of Israel from the Eurovision Song Contest because of the Israel-Hamas war, basing their argument over the exclusion of Russia from the Eurovision Song Contest in 2022. Robinson stated in the Irish Examiner, when things were going on with Ukraine, Russia wasn't allowed to enter, so I don't think there should be a rule for one and different for another. However, they have also stated that the decision to exclude Israel should be left to the European Broadcasting Union. Yeah, guys, look, I'm not going to comment anymore. But the second point, so point number one, the Irish mammies and daddies want this caricature, this person to be representative of Irish youth and leading the way, being a role model for our children. And representing the land of saints and scholars. And secondly, I, Mr. Robinson, or Miss or Mrs. or whatever you are, I know you are living a lie, as you can see. All right, guys, so we'll drop it there. Let's see how am I doing. Yeah, got to blast on, which leads us, because she mentioned Ukraine and Russia, it leads us into, I'll just pull that out there so you can see the flag. So this interview with Tucker Carlson, and again, I've got to be quick, guys. Please go and listen to it. This is a list of the things that Putin confirmed in the interview. And the point I'm going to make here, guys, the most corrupt country in Europe, democratic elections suspended, only one approved media source. Now, I know some of these things might also be in effect in Russia, but we're not We're all sponsoring Ukraine on the grounds that they're this poor little beaten up little country that's standing up against the tyrant Russia. All I will say is this, guys, freeze this and read into it. Also on the left, you see the BBC trying to damage Tucker Carlson's credibility afterwards. Of course they do. Because everything, and I'm saying everything that Putin said during the interview aligns with what I would describe as authentic, credible, independent media and what they've been saying about what's going on over there. Please take a bit of time and have a look at it. Okay, so on to the next slide. Sorry, where have we gone? Here we go. Oh, yes, so here you see where the Nazi symbols come in. Look, if you haven't heard about it, guys, this was the occasion a few weeks ago where this man, Jaroslav Hunka, who was in the Waffen SS during the war, he actually gets invited to the Canadian Parliament to, let's see, is this any better? Yeah, it's a little bit better. To the Canadian Parliament. And he's invited directly by Trudeau. Now, I'm making another point here, guys. Liars, professional liars, career liars, and moral deviants, okay? You've got Zelensky applauding him from the sidelines. And Zelensky himself is actually of Jewish origins, all right? So he's applauding a Waffen SS soldier that was invited to the thing. And then Trudeau then tries to back down and claim that he knew nothing about it. And as a consequence, the Speaker of the House had to resign. But I just read this. Now, this is the Azov Battalion. You notice that the reason it's up there is because we'll go back here, you see the symbols are very similar. You know, the SS Nazi and the Azov, very, very similar. And the slide explains, in its heyday as an autonomous militia, which means gang, right? Autonomous militia. It's an armed gang, guys, all right? Autonomous means free of any constraints. The Azov Battalion was associated with white supremacists and neo-Nazi ideology and insignia. It was especially active in and around Mariupol. In 2014, why is that important? Well, that's when there was a coup sponsored by the CIA to remove someone who was friendly to Putin and install instead Zelensky, okay? So CNN teams, and they're not the best to be relied upon, but CNN teams in the area at the time reported Azov's embrace of the neo-Nazi emblems and paraphernalia. They even almost had them listed as a foreign terrorist organization, okay, in the US Congress, all right? But all of a sudden it became profitable. It became profitable to finance and advance the war. That's why when Putin, when he says in the interview, tried to set up a negotiation with Ukraine, it was Boris Johnson on behalf of NATO who rushed over there and said, no, don't do that, don't do that. And it's all about money, guys. These people are absolute despots. They do not care about the people that are dying. All they care about is money and power. Let's keep going. So finally, let's bring this up again. A far-right battalion has a key role in Ukraine's resistance. Its neo-Nazi history has been exploited by Putin. Well, what's exploited? He's told the truth about it. Yeah, okay. It suits his interest because it takes a little bit of the edge off him as the, unconscionable, tyrannical aggressor. And he said absolutely he has no interest in expansionism into other NATO states. But only today I saw it on CNN, some pundit there said, we all know that he absolutely wants to, well, how do you know? He said he's not going to. Who do you believe? Yeah, is that the problem dealing with so-called politicians? Now, this one, guys, I almost didn't include this, but I think it's just worth mentioning, okay? Should Trudeau be trusted? I listened to Jordan Peterson talking about Trudeau, and he said he hardly ever speaks the truth. He's persistently lying, and it means nothing to him. And he did the same in Canadian Parliament the other day, just lied, said he didn't know anything about this invitation. And then when he was pressed by the opposition, he ran out of the Parliament, But, and as I say in yellow here, in particular view of the potential diabolical symbolism, the story is worth checking out, surely worth checking out. And again, I don't want to hang on this, but very quickly, He was born in 1971, 1971 is 18. There's 3 6s, guys. He was born on Christmas Day. Now, if I were to choose a birthday to be born on and I had really malintentions, but diabolical intentions for the rest of the world, particularly if it was in direct opposition to the Christ figure, yeah, I'd pick Christmas Day to be born. His name, if you name him as it's suggested that his father was Castro, guys, I'm not going to get into a debate about it. Go and check it out for yourself. I'm convinced Fidel Castro is his father. And here at the bottom it says it's a documented fact the Trudeaus were holidaying by boat in the Bahamas region and visited an undisclosed island at the time Justin was conceived. Castro's legitimate son, Fidelito, left a suicide note confirming that Justin Trudeau is his father's son. Okay, and the bit that's slightly missing here, so if you add up his name, Justin Pierre Castro, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, comes to 240, divided by 6, comes to 40, divided by 6, you get 6666 recurring. He's not the only one, there's a couple others like that, but it is unusual to have all of these aligned up together. And finally there, I'm sorry to say it got crowded a bit, but he's a trusted Klaus Schwab protege of the 666 World Economic Forum, which was also set up by a 33-year-old Klaus Schwab when? In 1971. There we go, guys. Have a look at it, guys. I just keep your appetites whetted and keep our minds open to the possibility that there's more to be seen in the symbolism. Most people don't get it, they don't understand it, and they write it off as silly nonsense, just like with the witchcraft and everything. There's stuff going on. We need to understand it, guys. Okay, so there was the Senate bill, the Senate border bill, guys. Where are we? Okay, we're getting good. At this rate, we'll be through these. 118 billion was asked for by the Biden administration, and they called it the border security bill. But look, by the way, Reuters, the fact that Reuters' name is on this gives me doubt to question it straight away. It gives me reason to question it. Their reputation is completely gone as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I speak about them in the book, the Crisis Color Coup book, which I'll pull up for you on the right-hand side here, guys. There we are, top right. If you're interested, that explains the nature of human evil. It explains what happened during the pandemic. It was written in the midst of it, and everything in there I stand 100% behind, okay? So you see there at the bottom, Ukraine gets, I wonder if I can make that any bigger, guys, but Ukraine is getting, is it, anyway, it's a lot, 60 odd billion, I think. It's a bit hard to read, my apologies. But obviously you can see most of it's going there, some to border security, some to Israel, some to Gaza, some to the Indo-Pacific, some to the Red Sea conflicts. That's the Houthi rebels and everything. They're trying to start a war there as well, by the looks of it. Why is this important? Well, again, it's all trickery and deception. Why would you call it the border security bill and then be sending 2/3 of the money you've raised straight out to Ukraine, which, as Putin explained previously, is the most financially corrupt country in Eastern Europe? It's just a fact. Everyone knows it. I'm not just having a go at the Ukrainians. It's a fact. It's accepted. Everybody knows it. Okay. And then, according to multiple reports from the Center of Immigration Studies last week, the United Nations Refugee Agency, which receives billions from US taxpayers, is giving hundreds of thousands of US-bound migrants cash debit cards and other funds for prescription medication, lodging, and travel. Now, they're just pictures there to show you what's going on. These were pictures taken of these men. Look like military sorts, don't they? This was sometime back, I think, with one of the trains coming up from Argentina. But it's been around for a while that they're giving all this money away. So why would they be doing this? And again, this is not just a story, guys. I'm going to show you something in a minute. I'm going to ask you to copy the link and go and read this document, and you'll see this plan has been in the making for years. Okay, so now we're on to Ireland's streets at last. And as you can see, this was the cordons. I put them on the first slide. The man in the center left there, his name is Mick McGrath. He's notorious for committing physical assaults on people. When I tried to, somebody was, complaining, look at them, they're hands-on, they're bullying people, they're throwing little girls onto the pavement and all this sort of stuff. And it was a trap. It was a trap because they were frustrated, because there'd been a massive gathering of tens of thousands of people earlier in the day that went off peacefully despite provocations. And then the guards come in. This all ties into the same thing, guys, all right? So when I try to put up that message, his name is Garda McMcGrath from the Bridewell, famous for his hands-on method of policing. He has been caught on camera many, many times committing assaults on the public, violently assaulted me in 2015 along with 4 of his colleagues in court. They escaped prosecution on that occasion due to the usual criminal collusion between GSOC and the courts. The fact is they actually they lifted me off a train and threw me in jail until the date of the court had passed. I came out looking for the documents and they never existed, as if the case had never existed. We'd had 3 or 4 hearings. It's just unbelievable, guys. You just get to a point where there's no point chasing them down anymore. They're all so thoroughly corrupt. But as you can see, I was blocked last week as well. Might have been incidental, but I'd only clicked one to try and share the big interview I did, the 666 interview with Jesse Hall. If you haven't seen it, go back and look. And this is what happened. So look, it's the powers that be. And that's why we're spreading out on other platforms as well. So now this is interesting. Psychological screening of officers, Metropolitan Police. Again, just a link, go and check it out for yourself. When I clicked it, it tried to send me through all these convoluted passwords and everything. It was very difficult to get the information. But there was a video on the other day, an English guy, after, and I'm going to guess now, it looks like after about 14 years, where he was being pursued for a false speeding allegation. After 14 years, he, quote, won his case. This proves my point, guys. I'm saying you consider that a win after spending 14 years being dangled and messed around. Yes, he had some successes as well. He was interviewed. I'm sorry to say I haven't got that interview with me here today, but I haven't got enough time really. But the point I'm trying to make is that when he was in as a photographer, he went in to do a job and he saw some of these psychological screening forms and he recognized them because he'd had psychological screening himself. Now, I know about this as well. They're called psychometric tests. Check them out online, guys. Very interesting, because what happens is that you find out that there's somewhere on this scale here, we'll look at it bigger in a second, you're somewhere between the empathetic and sociopathic scale, very loosely. Empaths are kind people who care about other people. Sociopaths are selfish, greedy, ambitious, ruthless, and do not care about other people. All right, that's very, very simply. But obviously you can freeze the screen and look at this in more detail. The question is An Garda Síochána actively recruiting sociopaths and psychopaths, as well as ethnic minorities? And if so, why? Now, I'm just popping this one up because it's one of the standard slides. I use it quite a lot, guys. Please freeze it, look at it, take your time, and it'll all make sense to you. But I will say this bit. That is the model, right? That is the standard model, the blueprint. In fact, in reality, the way the world is today is like that, okay? And I could go on literally for an hour talking about these constructs. But basically, if you're not actively scrambling and doing your absolute best to get up into that blue box on the top left with every decision you make in your lives, you are part of the problem, my friends. Yeah. Bit judgmental to say that, but I'm sorry to say it's just logic. It's logic and it's common sense. The trouble is, of course, most people are completely confused. There's so much, so much wickedness going on around them. And it's a bit hard to identify the opportunities where we can disengage from them and separate from them. Stop funding them, stop voting for them, stop working for them, stop employing them, whatever it might be. But the sociopaths and psychopaths have taken control of the world. And that's, in a nutshell, what's going on today, guys. We have to do something about it, but you're not going to do it sitting there waiting for your next set of instructions from these liars, these career liars and moral deviants, okay? You become your own leader, all right? So the next one. Oh, yes. So, this popped up on the screen the other day. Now, this was from Pakistan Overseas Community. The lady on the right is a Pakistani who's translating for the sergeant from Longford district on the left. I'm telling you guys, go and check this out, all right? Come to Ireland, we are recruiting refugees and asylum seekers, welcome. Why do you think they would be recruiting? Would it have anything to do with all of the decent guards leaving the force, or at least a great many of them? Would it have anything to do with them voting, 98.7% no confidence in Drew Harris? Yet he still just carries on regardless. Same as, what's her name? Same as McEntee, yeah? They don't care. They don't care, guys. Just carry on regardless, We've got the power. We will do what we want. Stuff the law, stuff the Constitution, stuff your fundamental human rights. We'll pay token recognition to them, but in effect, it doesn't matter. This is the pyramid, the hierarchical pyramid, guys, which we'll have a look at again in a second, very briefly. Here's another one. This one is, let's give it to you, full one. Okay, Joe O'Brien there, the Department of, let's take that out of the way. Minister of State, you know, and one of the things to look at, guys, as well, I noticed they keep changing. If you look at the Department of Rural and Community Development and the Department of Social Protection, with special responsibility for community development and charities, go on and on, with the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth. Look, they keep changing the titles in all of these entities, partly because it obfuscates and masks all of the crooked deals going on behind the scenes. You go in looking for a freedom of information request, let's say, on one of these things, and you'll find, oh yeah, we can give you the information you're asking for, but it stopped last October, because at that point, you know, the entity changed. It took on a new name. It's all just, what do you call it, cosmetics. They take on a new name, same people running it, or at least same types of people, but the ones that then they get out quick, they can't ever be held to account, and they set up a new department with a slightly different name, and away we go. Sligo immigration officer doing a presentation on Garda recruitment after 7:15 prayers at Sligo Islamic Centre Mosque, Male Coach Road, Sligo, on Thursday, 1st of February. Why are they actively recruiting these people? It gets better, folks. It gets better. How are we doing for time? We've got to keep pumping away. We've got this thing called the Internal Security Fund, as you can see, 2021 to 2027. It's got a total budget of 1.93 billion, and it's supposed to contribute to reach a high level of security by preventing and combating terrorism, radicalization, serious and organized crime, cybercrime, by assisting and protecting victims of crime, blah, blah, blah. But if you then look down, this is the guy who sent this to me and put a bit ring around it. But you should be able to read that. This is, if you want to apply to be an An Garda Síochána, you can be a refugee or a family member of such a person. Let me think. A family member of such a person. Would that be, for example, in a durable relationship? Remember this, March the 8th, guys, of the Constitution. In relation to whom a refugee declaration is enforced, blah, 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 blah. So you can, if you're a refugee or a family member of a refugee, you can actually apply to join the Guards and you're going to be able to walk straight in. And it's all being sponsored by this Internal Security Fund from the EU and the United Nations. Here's another one, International Protection Integration Fund 2024 opens for applications. So here we again, guys, we've got Joe O'Brien approved 1.5 million under this International Protection Integration Fund. Now, listen, you're going to hear all of these acronyms. They use them to confuse you. I spent about 2 hours reading a document. Every time I came to an acronym, I didn't even know what they were. They're not even shortlisted. They're not indexed in the document. It's a government document. I had to go and search online to find out what they were. I'll read some of them out to you here in a minute. Okay, but let's just keep going, guys. We're doing well so far. So there's the Internal Security Fund, right, that we just mentioned about. And what's this other one just below it? The IRPP. Now, that's called the, I'll bring myself up here. That's the Irish Refugee Protection Program, okay? It's incredible. All of them. Listen, they expect to resume normal resettlement processes for the remainder of 2022 and into 2023, which is just gone. Preparations are currently underway for a mission to Beirut last November, where approximately 400 refugees will be proposed by United Nations, blah, 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 for selection into this. All of these UNHCR, have I got that one? No, I haven't written that one down. Never mind. It is Ireland's intention to continue to use AMIF, which is the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund. That's another one, guys. All right. Are you getting the idea? And integration, hold on a minute. Refugee selection missions, refugee arrivals and integration supports during resettlement, all of which were also supported under Ireland's previous AMIF national program, Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund. That's another one. Expansion of EROC. Have I got that one? No, I haven't got that one, guys. It just ran out. I was trying to write them all these acronyms down, but they've got so many overlapping, interlocking, unnecessarily bureaucratic funds and stuff, you know. Then we go here. Now, all I'm going to do here, guys, you see the European Union flags on the left, okay? The main thing I want you to look at here is the link at the bottom, SFC 2021 program for AMIF, or whatever. Right, I'm going to read out some of these funds. The AMIF, Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, IPO, International Protection Office, TCN, Third Country Nationals, DCE, DIY, I didn't write that one down, sorry, ESRI, Economic and Social Research Institute, RCD is another one, ISF, International Security Fund, BMVI, Border Management and Visa Instrument. Let's see, I'll let you see my wonderful faces. I'm reading the last of these out to you. Border Management and Visa Instrument, IBMF, Integrated Border Management Fund, CCEI, Custom Control Equipment Instrument, IRPP, Irish Language Protection. Guys, look, I gave up. There must be 20 or 25 of these acronyms. They know what they're talking about, but how would any member of the public have a clue what's going on? But it is a government document, guys. Go to that link. But what I also want to show you here, my friends, is that those two summaries I put up there, I went through every single one of the summaries so that you don't have to, guys. There's only one EU country that has complied with all of the requirements. All of the rest of them, just like those two examples, which is Poland and Finland, okay, you can see they're saying, oh, so sorry, we never had time to get stuff done. Right. Now let's see what Ireland had to say for itself. As of the submission of this annual performance report, the Irish ISF has a well-developed controls environment in place. It is in the process of developing the controls and procedures already in place to ensure alignment and compliance with the new CPR legislation applicable for the 2027 programme period. The Irish ISF maintained consistent communication with EU representatives in advance of submitting the national programme to ensure compliance with the requirements of the enabling conditions at the outset of the programming period. And again, I'm sorry, the slide got crowded there, but it says Ireland, it may pop up if I do it this way, Ireland, the best boys in class. Yeah, the best boys in the class. All right, we're the only ones that have complied. Why is Ireland so unique? Could it possibly have anything to do with all of the multinational corporations that are based here and the fact that we are singularly the most corrupt? And I do mean this. I believe Ireland is singularly the most corrupt country in the whole world. Don't talk about North Korea. That's a dictator acting like a dictator. What makes Ireland so corrupt is we're pretending to be a democratic republic, or whatever it might be called, and we're not. It's tyranny by any other name, and we're seeing it. And the trouble is, they've ambushed us in such a way that by the time we get ourselves organized, they'll have rules and laws and robo-cops and refugees all wearing Garda uniforms, and we won't be able to do anything, Now, again, this is one of the standard slides. I would ask you guys to freeze this because I'm going to move on quickly to try and keep this under the hour. It's a simple diagram explaining concept, plan, action. That's how every organization works. But if the concept is bad, obviously the outcome from the actions is going to be bad. It's sort of a simple concept, all right? But once you know that the highest percentage of sociopaths and psychopaths, these are the bad guys, all right? The highest percentage of sociopaths and psychopaths are actually the CEOs of international corporations, government department heads, blah, 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 blah. It all starts to make sense. All right, so I'll just drop it there for a second. There we go. Freeze it, please. Have a look at it. And on to the next slide. We're getting close, guys. Oh, yes. Now, I hope I'm saying it right. Taoiseach Éireann. I've never had any need to have dealings with them because I'm not I don't own property, and I've stayed out of the morass, thank God. But in a moment, you'll see a link. What has been uncovered is the Taoiseach Éireann is the registration, property registration system and valuation service. And it's been found out that for years, and with the full knowledge of the big law firms, the judges, the regulators, the banks, the vulture funds. They have been engaged in massive systemic fraud that has resulted in hundreds of people committing suicide, thousands of people being thrown out of their properties unlawfully, and all of the despair and destruction that comes with that. Guys, when are we going to say enough is enough? You know, when are we going to say? We've got to find a way to prevent sociopaths and psychopaths from getting into positions of power and control. But you have to also understand, as in the previous slide, the actual systems themselves encourage sociopathic behavior. We have to bring it back to the communities, guys, smaller organizations led by collectives in agreement, not dominated from the top down authoritarian. That is literally the diabolical model. Okay. Now, so here we go. This is Tom Darcy. There's my friend Stephen Kerr on the right-hand side, and the Irish Inquiry. If you can, guys, please go and look at that interview. All right. Now, Tom, God bless him, he wrote a book called, recently called Irish Tears, and prior to that, Waiting for the Sheriff. Most people in the pro-justice community would have heard of that. Tom started off as a developer. Actually, he explains it all in the video. Go and speak to him. But to cut a long story short, he has put together a package of information. That just insert there is just to show you Bank of Ireland fined 100 million. Who cares, sort of thing. If the fine is less than the profits they've made, they don't care. They don't care. Destroyed your life. Ah, well, we made a few bob out of it. My bonus went up, you know. So to give them credit, Tom and Stephen, of course. Stephen's a stalwart in the pro-justice community too. Many, many good videos, particularly about immigration, particularly about Garda malpractice and so on and so forth, political corruption and so on and so forth. Anyway, if you please go to that link, waitingforthesheriff.com, and I'll let it explain itself for you guys, okay? But please go there and you will understand. But what he's really said is there's no single homeowner in Ireland or anybody who's been through the courts in the last few years that everyone should know this information. All of you need to know this information. And he's put together a package of information, as I understand it, that will facilitate you being part of the solution as opposed to remaining a victim, if I dare say it that strongly, you know. So please, guys, if you get a chance, go over there, waitingforthesheriff.com, and work it out for yourselves. Now, I think we're almost finished. This is really good. This is good for me anyway. So slide number 36, reminding people again of the Constitution of Ireland, the attempt by these career liars and these people who want to enslave us all to try and amend the 40th, the Constitution, right? They want to change a woman into being a carer. That'll suit people like Bambie Thug and all of our refugees in their durable relationships. And the other thing they want to do is change family into a durable relationship. So I'm just asking anybody out there, please send me a postcard once a year. Just send me a postcard. And as long as you're consistent and you do it every year, you know, or a Christmas card, maybe more appropriate. Send me a Christmas card, and that puts you and me in a durable relationship, because I then write back to you and say, thank you for the Christmas card. Who's to define what a durable relationship is? Well, you know it now. There's an active funded. They're using taxpayers' money in America to fund the refugees. Oh, there's another slide here. I think we skipped past it. But I had another slide here that explained that they were, they'd set aside, or in that document, let's see if I can just bash back just really quickly, because I've just got a couple of minutes spare. Yeah. Yes, that program. Yeah, let's pull this up again just for a second. Yes, look at the bottom paragraph there, guys, in the second paragraph. It is Ireland's intention to continue to use AMIF funding, Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, right, to support elements of the IRPP, which is the Irish Refugee Protection Programme, including implementation of resettlement and humanitarian mission schemes, refugee selection missions, refugee arrivals, and integration supports during resettlement, all of which were also supported under Ireland's previous AMIF, Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, national programme up to 2020. Expansion of EROC capacity, sorry, I haven't got that in there, European something, and further development of the community sponsorship programme may also be supported. Funding beneficiary organisations will include the International Organisation for Migration, local authorities in Ireland, and non-government organisations, of which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but I'm going to go and have a look at it. I remember somewhere in the back of my mind, was it 30,000 or 300,000 that we have in Ireland? I must go and check. But anyway, huge amount of non-government organisations which are anything but. They are jobs for the boys, instruments, where they plop the politicians plop their chosen friends into the thing. Then they fund it from your money, from the taxpayers' money. They fund it from the taxpayers' money, and you're left there. And when you try to go and make a complaint, oh, no, we're a non-government organization. We're free from any strings attached. They're liars, guys. They're liars. Lying is just a methodology by which they acquire what they want. It means nothing to most of these people. They don't have morals. They don't have a conscience. They have no regret or remorse. And if you're in the way of their profits and their power and their sinister plans, God help you. So let's, right, we'll just bump through the last few again. You saw that. Stephen and Tom Kerr. Second last slide here, guys. Please think about your vote, okay? Please think about it on March the 8th. Now, I believe also there's possibly a plan to have something happening on St. Patrick's Day, March the 17th. I think it's a Saturday. Obviously, we'll let you know if that's the case. There's the book on the right-hand side, Criminality in the Irish Courts in the Absence of the Rule of Law. Please listen to this. An expose of the workings of arguably the largest and most profitable publicly funded criminal organisation in Ireland, plus the names and positions of over 100 accused, officials and office holders, including lawyers, police, judges, TDs, and government ministers. Nobody, guys, nobody that's named in that book, and there's 100 of them, like I say, 40 judges, some of the top judges in the country, corrupt so-and-sos. Not one of them ever came after me openly, directly, and honestly. They, of course, orchestrated attacks behind the scenes, threw me in jail, all this sort of stuff, try to come after my children, you know. But once you really begin to realize who you're dealing with, we've got to get out of the mentality, my friends, of thinking all of our solutions are going to be by going back to the authorities. And to a certain extent, this is something, it's a little prediction I'm making. When Tom and others were putting together paperwork to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that all of this larceny and fraud and embezzlement was going on and all this sort of stuff, I was one of the singular voices, and I got punished for it. I got removed off a forum for explaining to them, yeah, but once you've got all your evidence and everything, what are you going to do with it? You're going straight back into the devil's playground. Now, I'll say this just to finish, guys. I'm not saying that we shouldn't tackle the bad guys. I'm not saying we shouldn't expose them, but we have to understand the notion of winning. Once they drag us into the process, that's their win. Now they're controlling everything. They're controlling the narrative. They're controlling your spending. They're controlling the paperwork you have to put in. They create obstacles and delays and obfuscations. You're running around like the proverbial blue-bottomed fly trying to get yourself all in order. They just sit back twiddling their thumbs and going, you know, that's just, yeah, move the court gate. Put it down in Cork. Don't tell him. Something goes ahead, and the only way you can reverse what went ahead unlawfully is to make an application to the Court of Appeal, which takes another 18 months or whatever it is, and so on and so forth. So I made a prediction, and it's an unhappy prediction, but one which I hope is taken to heart in context of the fact that the win for us is in publicizing how devious these people are, how ruthless, how arrogant, how they're living high, they're living high on the hill of whatever they call it, off the land, whatever, on our money. And they spend a whole career, lifetimes, creating problems for ordinary everyday people. We've got to understand that. So I do think that we should go ahead, publicize everything. That's the main thing. And that's why what Tom's doing is great, because everybody can use these packages to launch. And maybe, who knows, if there's an avalanche of these people launching things, we'll shut down they're unlawful courts anyway. They're unlawful courts staffed by criminals. That's a fact. Not making any reservations about that. That's been my experience. Finally, guys, that's the last slide now. In the event that you would like to help us. Oh, by the way, I know it's not Sunday. I was quite violently sick yesterday. So, and anyway, it is what it is. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for your thoughts and prayers. We are living through the age of wisdom right now. Wisdom and knowledge, obviously, are married to each other. There's no excuses anymore, guys. There's no more sitting on the fence. There's nowhere to sit. The fence is being removed. As my friend Dennis said in the poster for the referendum, we've got to pick a side. Okay, guys, God bless everyone. And believe it or not, I did it under the hour, which is amazing, which means I can upload this now without too many problems. Bye-bye, folks. Okay.